Welcome to Buckets, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. Oh my God, I needed that cover. Oh my God, thank you for the off-ball fouls. He who shall not be named, who you can find his name in the comments at youtube.com/The Action Network. Oh my God, what a game, what a series, incredible finish. The Thunder tied the series 2-2 after it looked like they were broken in the third quarter, completely broken. And now it's a best of three. And now it's going to be very interesting to try and find some good betting angles on this series because, oh man, I don't know how you feel coming out of this one. I've got Joe Dolera with me at Joe Dolera. I've got Brandon Kravitz fresh off the beach at BK Picks and the Action Network app in the zone Monday through Friday. What a game. Oh, Joe Dolera. I needed. They scored like 60 points in the first half. And I had Pacers on the team total under, and I talked about the under in the pregame, and I had Thunder -6, and I talked to Brandon about how bad it felt. Oh my God, needed every single inch of that one. Just needed every little bit of that one. All the juice squeezed from that one to make the most delicious lemonade here on a Friday night. What's your reaction to game 4 of the NBA Finals?
Woo! The Thunder pulled that game out of their ass. Like that game, they had no business winning. I think they were outplayed. I think they were outcoached. I'm shocked at the way that this went. They were playing like 90s basketball. They didn't even take threes, not let alone make threes. Indiana's 3-point differential in this game was incredible. So like to win this game after kind of losing game 3 when they shot the lights out from beyond the arc, it's such a weird series. This was a game they had to have. Shea even said it immediately in the post-game comments. He was like, it's a lot different to go home down 3-1 than it is 2-2. They bring home court back. Now it's a best of 3 series. The micro adjustments from Carlisle have been awesome, but it did feel like this was a game where Oklahoma City they made their shots at the end and they just really like clutched up, and it felt like a very uncomfortable game. If you were a Thunder backer on the series, if you're a Thunder backer from a futures perspective, very uncomfortable game, but what a win. What a way to make this series go over 5.5 games.
Jim Turvey catches the bet. That's amazing. Okay. Brandon Kravitz, your reaction to game 4.
Well, it's good to be back. As great as it is to step away, unplug, enjoy time with the family. Watching game 3 with, if I called them casuals, my in-laws, it would be a compliment. So I miss talking to you guys about some round ball. Tonight was absolute insanity. I had the over-under on the Thunder had no business winning that game, said in the live stream here at 2 minutes. Joe Dolera hit the under with 20 seconds to spare. They had no business winning this basketball game. And I'm worried. I'm really worried about OKC here moving forward, and it makes me really confident in a game 5 bet, and we'll talk about that. Indiana was held to 17 points in the fourth quarter. That's what this game came down to. Yeah. I have found that throughout the course of this series, and now we have a nice 4-game sample, the Pacers have been the far more comfortable basketball team, and that was the case throughout this game. They outscored the Thunder in every quarter of this game until they went up against the best team in the NBA, who decided to turn that faucet on in the final quarter of a game they had to win. If the Thunder don't win this game, their season is effectively over. So we got a desperation quarter out of OKC. That's not enough to make me feel confident that Oklahoma City is still going to win this series.
I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma City, like this was the game where if I was backing the Pacers and I lost and they lost this game, obviously, it feels like the momentum is, I think it's shifted right back. Like this, to me, like Indiana needed to be up. I think the coaching has been there. And you can make all these like little adjustments. as we've kind of seen this though, like in a lot of different series, as the series kind of progressed, like how many more adjustments can you make without the other team like kind of figuring it out? And I'm wondering if because Oklahoma City kind of stole this one, instead of Indiana being up 3-1, you just got to win one more out of the next three, right? Now it's 2-2. I don't know. Like Carlisle's been a wizard with these adjustments and making like these tiny little tweaks, even in the like certain rotations or certain mismatches. I wonder how many more things Indiana really can do when they're already like really pretty deep in the bench and you're getting contributions all the way up and down the roster. So I don't know. I feel better. I mean, I'm obviously happy that Oklahoma City won. I have some nice preseason positions on Oklahoma City, but this was a game I felt Indiana needed to have in order to be comfortable going forward in the series.
OKC just feels so over-reliant on guys like Alex Caruso at this point that this just doesn't feel like the script that OKC wanted if they were going to win the series, or at least win the series in the way that they thought they could, and we all thought they could coming into this one.
So here's what I'll say, because I think you both make good points. On Joe's side, I think, yes, the momentum is gone. I think the Pacers are at their very best when it feels like momentum has turned. I think that is where they tend to thrive. Game 3 Cavs, oh man, look out. Cavs get fully healthy, blew them out in game 3. Now we're going to see order restored. Nope, came back won game 4. Knicks series, won game 3. New York can't count out New York, even though most of us were counting out New York.
It was only me not counting out New York. Get that out of here.
And so, but look, I think I'll say this right now. I think OKC wins game 5. I cannot in good conscience bet the spread minus 9.5. I cannot.
No.
I cannot do that. Now I might bet like Pacers plus 9.5 and then an OKC alt minus 19.5. I might do that and look for a middle life, because that's what it feels like to me. This is either going to be like close or it's going to be an absolute OKC just like runaway, just absolute runaway. Matt Mitchell, our esteemed producer, just hit this NBA Slack channel for action with rules exist for a reason. The Matt Mitchell rule takes it home tonight as the favorite does in fact win and cover. The Matt Mitchell
How
rule
the fuck did they cover that?
Finally.
How did that even happen?
Two away from the ball.
So if you want to know, go check out the comments here at Action Network, at youtube.com/the Action Network, and they'll give you a name on how they covered. I think OKC won that game straight up because their defense played great. Because I was turning around from what I was telling Joe to Brett to now talk to Brandon, which is like, hey, I get what you're saying, Kravitz, of, they look so far away from what they want to be. Everyone said that the Nuggets series was their moment of adversity. And I kind of was like, was it? Because like Denver never really made them uncomfortable. They just kind of won games. Like I never really felt like Denver was going to win that series, even when they went up 2-1. This one tonight felt like I was like, oh God, the Pacers are going to win this series in the third quarter. I was like, this is it. And then they just, the whole thing about learning how to do in the playoffs is you can't have this identity that you're so tied to, because there will come a time when you don't get to be that. And you just got to figure it out. You just got to make offensive rebounding plays. You just got to be able to get downhill. You got to use great footwork to generate a foul on Aaron Nesmith. And I'm sorry, it was an obvious foul. The no call on the push off and the walk was rough. I get that. And Shea gets a great whistle. And the off-ball fouls I thought were nonsense. I thought they were nonsense in this game. I didn't like the first flagrant foul. The second one was obvious.
Yeah. It
was a messy officiated game. But OKC went into Indiana, and I do think won this game. I don't think the cover took certain circumstances involving certain people to occur. And that's what happened. Joining us is Brian Fonseca, fresh off his run
Got
his
the
ship
quad
tonight.
box.
Got the quad box up now. Brian Fonseca, talk to me about what you think you saw in Game 4, an incredible Game 4 between the Pacers and the Thunder.
I had Ben Mathurin over 10.5 points.
Oh.
He finished with 8.
Mm-hmm.
He missed 3 free throws at the end.
You missed 3 free throws and gave them 2 away from the ball free throws too.
That hurt. That hurt.
That was incredible. Basketball is amazing. I would tell you people, everyone watching, if you're losing money on the finals, it's okay. You're watching a great series. Don't let the great series take away from the fact that you might be losing some money.
There are a lot of people that needed to hear that right now, Brian. That was good. That was a very effective PSA.
We still do this for the sport, but hopefully you didn't lose money because a lot of shit happened. So I said that if OKC lost this game, I would be on them for Game 5. Now that OKC won and the Pacers didn't do the fourth quarter thing that they normally do, I don't know what to do with Game 5 because I feel like every time one team has the other figured out, there's a counter. Then there's another counter. Then they keep countering each other. And I've thought about this and I tweeted about this. This thing that people are calling the weak link era, where it's essentially like, it's not about who are your strong suits, who are the strong guys on your roster. It's about not having any weak ones, essentially. And this is a thing that I think soccer really adapted. And I think here in the NBA finals, these are the two teams. You know what? That's a great comment. These are the two teams who this best applies to, because I feel like you have a hard time picking at weaknesses on each side. Like, we can talk about this person needs to play better, this and that and third, but for the most part, like, there's just balance all around. And they've proven they could win on each other's home turf. The Pacers have done it throughout the playoffs. The Thunder have done it throughout the playoffs. So I feel like this is a little more evenly matched than I'm sure the odds will reflect, because I'm sure OKC is going to be heavily favored. I haven't checked the line yet because I literally just got off my other job. But OKC is going to be heavily favored for Game 5, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people will want to back them. I felt more confident in them, ironically, if they lost this game. Now in Game 5, I'm like, Indy could steal that one. Indy could have like a bounce back sort of effort after squandering this late. This kind of reminded me, actually, Matt, of like Game 3, where the Pacers lost to the Knicks and the Knicks just took it from them down the stretch after the Pacers started off so strong in the first half. And that was the Karl Anthony Towns game. So it wasn't quite that for OKC, but OKC did make the necessary plays, even when it looked like they were about to fade to black at some point.
Yeah, that to me is kind of the thing here. And Kravitz was kind of talking about how they're very far away from a comfort zone. Shea's getting cooked on defense. They can't hit a 3 to save their souls. They're losing the turnover battle. Like, all of these things, they are very far away from OKC basketball. Sometimes you just got to figure this shit out. Like, that's what it is. The Nuggets really did kind of, like, I learned this from I've covered one championship run start to finish. I've been to 12 finals and covered those series up close, but to cover an entire run really taught me a couple of things, which is like, every game's different, man. Every game is its own thing, and you got to figure out what's going on that game that night. And OKC, for most of these playoffs, has gotten to play from high ground position. Denver was the first time where they went down 2-1, and then they came back and they did adjust and they got the win, but they still did it kind of with their kind of style to get that figured out in Game 4. This is the first time where it's been like, you don't get to have your identity. You don't get to just dominate with turnovers. You're going to have to go bucket for bucket. You're going to have to grind this game down into dirt. And after that incredible first half scoring deluge, this game goes under, which we gave out and talked about on the pregame show.
That's true.
And looked dead in that first half. I was like miserable. I was like, again, why can't I just, bro? And then it came through for me. The Game 5 line opens 9. It's already moved Thunder 9.5. We're already seeing sharp money and big money coming in on the Thunder. So, like, I'm probably going to play Pacers on the spread and not money line and ignore the Matt Mitchell rule, because I don't like that kind of spot. Let's talk series price now. Kravitz, There's a minus 600 on OKC in the market, a plus 425. There's a minus 590 I'm seeing on OKC, and a plus 430. I will now I will be hedging all of those OKC over Indiana bets I made in the second round because I make this number only 391. I think the market is not giving Indiana a good enough chance here. They do have to beat OKC twice, but as a reflection of how quickly this market bounces back towards its power rating, guess what? OKC is a minus number in the market right now to win in 6, minus 104 to win game 5 and then turn around and win game 6. Kravitz, what's your feeling on the series price?
So after game 1, which I nailed, which was Pacers plus 9.5, Pacers money line, I then turned around and bet Thunder minus 1.5 series price. And I'm not, and that was at even money. That was at plus 100. So I'm not sure that I even want to mess with that. I just I think I want to take that win or that loss. Now, if I didn't have that bet sitting in the bank already, then I think I would end up on the Indiana Pacers here. Coming into the series, I did not bet the Pacers. I had confidence. I think I had more confidence than a lot of the folks that we talked to on this channel about the Pacers' chances going into this series. But my way of betting into that was going to pick my spots with the Indiana Pacers. The biggest one for me being game 1. The next one is going to be game 5. What we've seen so far from OKC is that they have only played their best when their backs are against the wall. Game 2, you can't drop the first 2 at home. And then in this game, they lose this one. Then they're down 3-1. And we didn't even really see that desperation until we got to the fourth quarter. What I don't like what I'm seeing from OKC in terms of coming out outside of what you saw in game 2. But again, that was another desperation spot of just being able to impose your will on a team that you are supposed to be better than. Here we have Obi Toppin 4 games into an NBA Finals series, and for most of it, looked much better than Oklahoma City's role players. And I don't want to hear this, well, they're in Indiana. That should simply not happen at this point. To me, it's a reflection of Rick Carlisle being a much better coach at this stage of the game than Mark Daigneault. Awards be damned. And that's the sort of thing that has me wanting to back Indiana here. They had 5 different players in double figures. They could have gotten up to 8. They had multiple guys with 8 points tonight. This is exactly what I thought could potentially, if you were going pie in the sky, I want to back the Pacers coming into this series, that Indiana poses such a challenge being able to get multiple guys involved where you can't just take Halliburton out and boom, we've got the Pacers figured out. You can't play them that way. And Oklahoma City has been so good throughout this postseason run of saying Anthony Edwards will not beat us. Nikola Jokic will not beat us. You can't do that to the Pacers. And what we are seeing is that Indiana, to me, looks a lot more comfortable than I think a lot of people expected at this stage in the game. So I am at series price. If I had to bet it, I would take the Pacers plus the 430. I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue to find my spots with the Pacers.
Joe, I feel confident that the Thunder will win game 5, the Pacers will win game 6, and then we'll have a game 7. That's what I feel. If I'm wrong and the Pacers win game 5, I will absolutely like OKC in game 6. That spread, by the way, would be incredible.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. It can't possibly be 6. They cannot possibly have watched this series and seen everything that's gone on in it. And with OKC on the road, with Indiana with having to win 1 game at home to win its first NBA title, make the Thunder a 6-point favorite in game 6. Can they?
I mean, maybe. Like, I mean, the way that these the power rankings have gone, like, that's just kind of the way it is. So, like, I think if you think Oklahoma City wins a game and then you're going to want to back, like, Indiana, like, 7 games is plus 112 just to have a 7-game series right now. So you're just saying these teams are each going to win 1 more game, and then I don't know who's going to win game 7. But even that feels like it feels wrong in a way, because I think I'd rather have than Thunder 4-3 at like plus 180. If you really think that these teams split the next two and then we're going to a game 7, I'm going to want the home team, because the home team in game 7 is literally one of the biggest advantages in sports. I understand that it's kind of like pulled back a little bit recently, especially with some of the parity that's going on in the league, but still, I would want that number at plus 180. I think that at the end of this game, what I thought was interesting was Indiana kind of deviated from what they normally do. If you watch like the last 3 minutes of the game, they couldn't score the basketball. They weren't passing the basketball, which I think is the most important thing. The reason they've been able to make these comebacks and the reason that they've been able to like mount these, come over these insurmountable leads that are deficits that they've been in, and why they've been so good against the Thunder is the ball movement, the facilitation, the spreading out of the scoring, like you were talking about, Brandon. And, you see multiple players scoring the basketball. They didn't do that at the end of this game because they started pressing a little bit. I think Oklahoma City did something with defensively, with the pressure, the ball pressure, the movement that they had defensively, and that disrupted what Indiana likes to do. That's going to stick with them a little bit. It's like they've been winning these games in the fourth quarter, like in magical fashion, right? You have that belief. Today, you've got the lead, and then the Thunder just snatched that game right out from you. So that's what I think in terms of the momentum. But if you think the series is going to go long, I think the number for Oklahoma City in 7 at plus 180 isn't that bad if you think Indiana is going to steal at least one more game here.
Okay, so you can do plus 180 Thunder 4-3. You can do I like the exactas right now. I just think like trying to follow game script is fun here. I've already got the 20-1 on Pacers to win from behind. I am tempted to go Pacers 5, 6 OKC, 7 OKC at plus 710, and just get really stupid here. This is total games. 6 games is minus 138. 7 games is plus 112. I think that's an interesting question of you have to really believe, I think, that OKC is going to like orders restored, that they figured it out tonight and now they're going to go home and they're going to make their threes. And you can't have watched the last 4 games of the series and feel that way. Like to Kravitz's point, you cannot feel like if we try and merge the two perspectives here, right? Which is Pacers just lost an incredible chance to end this series early. Thunder do not look comfortable. Fonseca, I think like at that point, like, I don't know how we do, like, to me, if we merge these two things together, it's the Pacers are unlikely to win 2 straight. The Thunder are unlikely to win 2 straight. Probably the best number is just that 7 games plus 112. That's probably the best number.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Pacers plus 1.5 is just minus 118. I was hoping we'd get a better number for that because I was looking at that bet, but it is not a great enough number. I would say this every time it feels like Indiana is like all out of answers. like Roddy Piper, they start changing the questions. You know what I mean? Like
love the
wrestling
reference.
fans. I think with Indiana, like we've seen throughout the playoffs, like they just don't give a fuck.
They don't care.
They don't care. Like it would have stunned me at all if this is one of the scenarios that actually like we talked about even on the last episode where it's like, all right, OKC gets home, Indy gets home, and Indy gets game 7. If Indy does win 2 in a row, I think it'd be more likely 6 and 7, obviously, than 5 and 6. But that's plus 980 for it to go from here, best of 3, OKC, Indy, which is interesting. Obviously, the most expected one seems to be just OKC winning out. But it's like, I think Indy's earned enough respect where I'm like, are OKC going to win 3 straight games against this team? 3 against Rick Carlisle, the way that Rick Carlisle is coaching. I think Rick Carlisle is the best coach in the NBA right this second. So to me, I know home court matters, but in this series, I think we're going to get at least 1 more road win, if not 2. There's a world where it's all 3. That'd be crazy to bet on. You probably get a sick number for that. I'm not going to do that. But I really think Indy has like another
16 to
level.
1. 16 to 1, Brian.
16 to 1. Oh,
It's not long enough.
Just
I'll
rotate.
tell you
Yeah, it's
that.
not. It's not. It's not. I would have thought that would have been a juicier number, but yeah, I just think Indy has more. And the big thing for me was they didn't close how they normally did, and I think Rick Carlisle is going to figure out why. Because when they're in this position again, because I am expecting at least one more close game, I think they're going to close out better than they did. OKC found some answers defensively, and it feels like every time someone finds an answer in the series, it's going to be a counter to it next time we see it. So I think Rick Carlisle is going to figure that out.
I think it was offensively too, though, because Shea like really struggled, I think, to kind of get loose during this game. Like they were smothering him. They're picking him up like immediately. He was completely passive in the first quarter, right? And then I think in the fourth quarter, we did see them effectively run some like handoff action, some screens for him where he was, coming off of screens, like so that he could get open. And then that was freeing him up. And I think he also didn't expend as much energy throughout the course of the entire game because he wasn't bringing the ball up all game. So like, I think that's an answer too, where, Indy, like they showed that J-Dub, he turned the ball over a lot today, but he still was relatively effective in terms of bringing the ball up and facilitating. Alex Caruso minutes, I think, were super important, but getting Shea loose. And then in the fourth quarter, he was incredible. He had a great fourth quarter. A decent amount came from the free throw line, but the Neesmith covering him was not a good answer for the Indiana Pacers. That did not work. Yeah. So Nembhard was a lot better on him, but it like that also wears on a player like Nembhard throughout the course of the entire series. So I'm a little bit more, I'm just generally more impressed with what Oklahoma City did at the back end of this game to win the game, I think, when nothing was really working for them. Like they should have lost this game.
Yeah. And then like on the other side of the court, defensively, what they kept doing was just forcing all these uncomfortable isolation late in the shot clock possessions. Like that's where you want Indiana. You want them just sort of frantically passing it around to each other. And then the ball sticks to one guy for too long. Andrew Nembhard has it for 8 seconds. He's trying to shake off Chet, who held up on a switch very well at one point. And then you look at like Tyrese Halliburton's dribbling around trying to make something happen. Like they kept forcing Indiana to have those possessions. And I think that was key too.
Halliburton under assist in game 5. I will bet that right now. They finally stopped playing drop on Hallie.
Yeah.
Finally. So he draws the foul on him where Chet just makes a bad move and gets his hand caught in there. They go back to it. The reason they were spamming that Hallie action on Chet is because the whole fucking series, Chet's been playing drop, which means that Halliburton's like, I will just kill you with this floater. Over and over, I will stab you with my little tiny knife over and over and over again. And finally, they switched it, and he shuts down 3 straight possessions. Dags has to see that and go away from the drop. And if he does that, that's going to take away Chet's assist percent. Like, this is what they should have been doing the whole time. Do not give him that lane for the floater. Do not give him the lane where you're going to want to bring help. Stay home on shooters. Make him take those contested jumpers over Chet Holmgren's ladder ass arms, and you can contain. So I think points and assists Hallie under game 5. That's not to say that Hallie can't find ways to beat it. He can, and they may do that in the second half of game 6 using more of the DHO stuff because that's how you counter that. But I think Hallie under on assists is again going to be a bomb, as well as probably points and assists too in game 5. That's going to be that will be probably a really good look. Carlisle will look at this and he'll build some stuff into it, but all of the mechanisms to counter it are scoring opportunities and not passing opportunities. You don't leverage the defense because you don't have to bring any help, because the whole point of switch, the reason that switch coverage got so popular from 2016 when the Warriors started doing 15, when the Warriors started doing it through basically about a year and a half ago, is because you don't have to help. It means everybody gets to stay home. You're just like, okay, cook one-on-one. As long as you trust your guys, you don't have to overhelp. So Hallie unders, I think, is going to be a really good spot there. In the comments, we got to talk finals MVP because I think it's really important. Taylor says, I have OKC to win in 6. Do I bet Pacers money line in game 5? Ooh. I think no. You've got a 9.5 point favorite in game 5. Yes, home court has been irrelevant. Yes, the Pacers are motherfuckers at messing with the script. And yes, you'll get a better number there. But to me, it's just like you have to live with this one. You have to ride game 5 and put yourself in a position for game 6. And then you're going to get Pacers at home as a 5-point dog in game 6.
It'll probably be bigger. It'll be bigger, I think. If they're down.
6.5. You wait, you'll probably get 6.5.
And also, what I would say to Taylor is you could also bet Indy live if you really want to. Like, you're going to get a pretty good number at some point. If you feel like you're watching in the third or fourth quarter, you're seeing some things where it's like, oh, they could actually finish this off. Like, I don't think it's worth it doing it now. I think if you want to do it live, you can if the opportunity presents itself.
My problem with it too is like, you obviously bet OKC to win in 6 pre-series, right? Like, I don't know what number you got on OKC in 6, but it probably was maybe plus 210-ish, like in that range. What are you hedging? Like what's the, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you hedging? You came into the series thinking this is going to go at least 6. You have the scenario where it goes at least 6. Like, you knew Indiana had to win 2 games. So if you don't like the bet at all, then sure, like you could try to get out of it maybe with Indy plus like 1.5 games if you just want to get out of it. But like, you came into the series saying, I think Oklahoma City doesn't sweep. I think that the Indiana Pacers are going to win at least 2 games here, obviously. Like, you're in the position to win that bet. Like, you can't be hedging now just because, like, you're realistically, you're 4/6, 2/3 of the way there. So you got 2-2. Now you just need 2 Oklahoma City wins.
The total, I completely missed this. Total pop 224.5. We're already 222. Now they're overcorrecting. Like, now they're.
Are you gonna go over?
I'm probably gonna go OKC team total over. It's probably gonna be the angle there, because that's a massive overcorrection. One book,
especially after we saw the Oklahoma City Thunder shoot at 18% from I mean, both of these teams shot like shit. 31% for the Pacers, 18% for the Oklahoma City Thunder. These two teams, I mean, there are always going to be adjustments and all of that, but then there's like the settling into the adjustments. I sort of felt like tonight was going to be one of those over games just because these two teams kind of have an idea of what each other wants to do, but perhaps that is game 5, because tonight, obviously, both teams played a little tight at times, and that first half, it looked like we were going to fly over, and then OKC, just the way that they were able to clamp down in the fourth quarter, to me, I don't know how repeatable that is quarter after quarter. I think that was very game specific because they knew their season was on the line.
Okay. One book only has 3 players up for finals MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander minus 550, Siakam plus 850, Tyrese plus 900. And another book, it's Tyrese plus 800, Pascal plus 900. So if you are looking for a Pacers ticket, I think this is the move. Is you need to pick whichever guy you want, and then you're gonna have to I guess it's possible that like Tyrese dominates game 5 and dominates game 6, and you don't ever get a chance to hedge if you bet Siakam or the opposite, right? There's a possibility. I would think that you would have an opportunity to get here, or OKC just dominates game 5 and dominates game 6. I'm with Brian. I do not see OKC beating the Pacers 3 times in a row. I do not see that happening. That is a lot to ask. So, if you're going to be live for a game 7, Joe, Brandon, let's go to you actually. Kravitz, which of these guys do you kind of go with? Because I've got some positions on both, but I got Hallie at a much worse number. Given my other positions, I'm thinking about taking a big position on Hallie actually at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what are the numbers sitting at right now? I don't have that right in front of me.
It's either 800, 900, 800, 900 for both. You can find both in the market for either one. You can find an 800 on Hallie and a 900 on him. Best number is 900 for both. That's what
I feel like one of those Hallie triple doubles, which by the way I found really interesting. I've been betting that small, tiny, 0.2 units on Hallie to get a triple double in every game so far in this series. It was 30-1 for the first 3 games in this series. He didn't even get it. He was 1 rebound away in game 3. And then they dropped it to 14-1. So I think a little bit of an overcorrection there. It's just something that I noticed because I've been betting it, but he's flirting with it. And I think that if he were able to get that and have that on the finals resume along with the win and I don't know how much this matters, but the fact that Siakam already got Eastern Conference Finals MVP, maybe some leveling out. NBA voters tend to be very fatigue driven, and perhaps that would tilt things towards Tyrese Halliburton. So I like the Hallie look. If you think the Pacers are going to win the series,
all right. Let's go to Joe. Joe, what's kind of a read on Finals MVP right now?
I think you have to think about it in terms of who has to play at a higher quality in order for Indiana to win. And to me, I think it's Halliburton. I think that Siakam, he's continued to play, I think, really well. And I think that, throughout the course of the series, I think his numbers actually might wind up looking better. But I think that in the wins, Halliburton is the guy. Like, he has to play incredibly in order to get these wins, especially now the more recent wins, right? If they were to win the series in either 6 or 7, I think that Halliburton's the guy that you need to see, have these monster games, whether it's a triple double, kind of like Brandon's saying, or, maybe he gets a 30-point game, or maybe he gets a 15 assist game, just something. But he's the engine of this offense, and the Thunder's defense has been, I think, still really solid for the most part. He's the guy that has to crack that Thunder defense in order for Indiana, I think, to win the series. So I would say it's got to be Halliburton, but it's tough because I don't know. We just saw them vote for Siakam. And the problem is too, it's not 100 people voting. It's 7. Is it 7 or is it 9 people voting for this? So it's 9 people. The variance can actually hurt you here because it's a smaller sample. And if people are talking and they're like, well, I think this guy maybe played really well in game 7, then that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. So I hesitate almost to bet it. I think if you just I don't know. I feel like if you like Indiana, then, maybe just bet them. But I would feel like Halliburton is the one that has to play better in order for them to win.
Siakam, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals tonight.
Yeah.
If they had won this game, I think Siakam was going to win Finals MVP.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was saying the same thing because I have a Siakam 19-1 Finals MVP ticket. So if they won, that would have been great.
I got to find some sort of drop for.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think it really is just do you care about Siakam's numbers throughout the course of the series, or do you care about the players' numbers in wins? And I think that would maybe be what could swing where this goes.
I think because it's voted on, the voters are probably going to look at just the numbers in totality.
Yeah.
And they'll probably also look at, so if this goes to game 7, a lot of this will come down to who just has a better game 7. I think it might just be that simple. Also, this probably won't happen, but is there a world where, because this could only really apply to SGA, is there a world where Indy wins and SGA still gets it if SGA just goes nuts these next 3 games and they lose 2 of them?
There's no scenario.
You don't think he gets the votes?
You're the MVP. You're expected to win the series.
Mm-hmm.
You got to win. I think I understand what you're saying, but Halliburton literally had the clutchest shot in NBA Finals history in game 1. They're not going to give it to SGA if the Pacers win this series. That's not happening.
I'm only asking because it's voted on. So I don't know if somebody's gonna
because we haven't seen that since what? We haven't seen that since Jerry West.
Yeah, the last guy. Imagine what would happen. Imagine what would happen if Halliburton, if it's 9 people, right? This is a make-believe scenario. If there's 9 people, Pacers win, but Shea's awesome, and Shea gets 1 vote. What if Hallie gets 4 and Siakam gets 4?
Do they just split it? Is it co?
Yeah.
Does everybody win their bets?
Yeah. You probably dead heat it, I would think. But I don't even think it'd be interesting because a lot of the terminology in the book, they don't say dead heat applies for a tie, a co-winner. So it would be interesting. Maybe you could win both. I don't know.
There's been a lot of comments about Alex Caruso. I hear you guys, and actually based off of, I had a conversation on Lockdown NBA, and as a group bet for us, I put a very, very tiny amount on Alex Caruso to win Finals MVP. But guys, he's averaging 13 points in this series. You can't win Finals MVP on 13. You just can't do it. You got to be like 18.
He's eye
And the
test
defense-
MVP. I give
Yeah,
him
he's eye
that.
testing. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. But
It's also not like Shea is playing like if it has felt like Shea hasn't played great and he's like averaging 30 points a game.
yeah, like
it's
I
not
bet
like
I
he's
bet
playing like
J-Dub
shit.
when they were putting Shea in hell tonight. I bet J-Dub, because I was like, look, he's initiating the offense. Look how well he's playing. Look at all the things he's doing. Look how awesome this is. This is J-Dub's chance to overtake it because they're shutting out Shea. And then Shea still ended this game with 35 points. And no one got assists for OKC. So it was 0 assists for him to 3 for Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
For the Caruso people, Andre Iguodala in 2015 averaged 16, 6, and 4.
Yeah.
And also guarded LeBron or whatever. And Steph didn't have like a great efficiency series. And then in 2014, Kawhi Leonard was 18 and 6 per game still. And that was a team where it's like there wasn't a clear cut at the time. Like Shea's just gonna win it. If the Thunder win, Shea's just gonna win Finals MVP.
Yep. I'm still waiting for totals to update on.
I will say though, Matt, your J-Dub bet, it did come down. Like it's only like 20-1 now. So
I know I can cash out and get like
same
a solid, I can get like a pretty decent return
you
on.
can maybe get your money back the way they are now.
Yeah.
I got it at 33-1.
To me, that's the only reason to even bet these awards is if you can get long shots, and then especially, and this is more of a beginning of the regular season thing, when you can get someone that's between 60 to 90-1 to win an award, and then I get the opportunity halfway through the season to cash out of that and then not have to worry about injury, stupid voters, or some other player coming out of nowhere. To me, that's where the value truly lies, not betting into awards 4 games into an NBA Finals series.
Or you can bet Peyton Pritchard in preseason at 100-1 and then watch as he wins.
And literally never hedge it.
never hedge it and never
This
split
is
it.
where I heard that. I wish I could remember where I heard this advice, but it's the best advice I've ever been given. And Peyton Pritchard winning 6th Man of the Year is the best example of this. If you're going to put a full unit on it, split it in half, bet it twice. So the same bet 2 times, cash out one, and then ride out the other. That way you don't have to feel the pain of cashing out a Peyton Pritchard ticket.
9.5s in the market are starting to get juiced. And seeing some movement back up from 222.5 back up to 223. We'll see where that one goes. That's very interesting. But yeah, we're starting to see there's multiple books now that have 9.5 juiced. This is going to 10 for game 5. If you want Pacers spread or money line, wait, because you're going to get a better number 24 hours from now. I would imagine the timing on this is going to be wait 24 hours. You can probably get a good number there. If you want to absolutely squeeze the most out of it, you're going to have to wait till tip off because Thunder keep taking money late. So
yeah, people are going to be at work bored and they're going to be betting on Monday.
And the Pacers closed at 11 at plus 11 for game 2. So something to keep in mind that's probably going to be the height of the market if you want to bet the Pacers. I don't know if it touches 11, but I think that will probably be the peak.
Yeah. I have to go sort through my spreadsheets and figure out based off of having Pacers come from behind 20-1 and Pascal Siakam Finals MVP and a Pacers 12-1 ticket, but also 15 Thunder over Pacers tickets from when we bet it every night during the conference semifinals and finals. I have to go figure out how I need to bet game 5. We'll figure that out later. My thanks to Brandon Kravitz for joining us alongside Joe Dallaire. Good to have you back, Brandon. Thanks for Joe Dallaire for staying up late with me here. Both those guys all 3 of you on East Coast time, 12:20 Eastern. Appreciate you guys doing that on a Friday night. Brian Fonseca, thanks for hopping in after a long day of work. We will be back on Sunday night. Joe Dallaire, Jim Turvey, the future Jays, and I will discuss the NBA Finals Game 5 best bets with Jim Turvey, who you'll all want to tune in for, I am sure, because that man went on a roller coaster tonight. We'll see you guys again next time. Thanks for joining us. Till then, let's get buckets. Woo! What a night.